everyone, my name is Timothy Lee Grant and welcome back to another Leetcoding video. So let's just get right into it. We are going to, this is my fourth video today. So let's see, what should we do? Should we do a graph one? What should we pick? Simulation, that seems strange. Counting? How about counting? Okay. Ransom note. Sure. All right. Number 383. Ransom note. Given two strings, ransom note and magazine, return true if ransom note can be constructed by using the letters from magazine, and false otherwise. Each letter in the magazine can only be used once in ransom note. Okay, so ransom note is A and magazine is B. So can you transform magazine into ransom note? No, because this one has one B and this one has one A. All right. Ransom note has AA and magazine has AB. So can you transform magazine into ransom note? No, you can't because there's only one A. Now, ransom note is AA and magazine is AAB. So can you transform this magazine into ransom note? Yes, you can. You can just use this A and then you can use this A. Okay, so the method that I immediately start thinking about is I am going to iterate over this magazine and I am going to store the frequency, the number of times I get a letter in a dictionary. So I'm going to have the key be the actual letter, like A, okay? And then I'm going to say how many times it appears. So if I come here and I see this A and I don't have an A in my dictionary yet, I'm going to add A to my dictionary and put the frequency as 1. Then I'm going to come here and say, oh, I see another A. I'm going to add, and it's in my dictionary. Cool. So now I'm going to do the current frequency plus 1. So now there's 2. Okay. Then B. Is B in my dictionary? Well, not yet. So I'm going to add B and put its frequency to 1. Now I get to the end. All right, awesome. Now I'm going to go and iterate through each of the letters in ransom note and see, okay, A. Do I have an A in my dictionary? If I do not have an A in my dictionary, then I have to return false. Or if A is equal to 0, right, the frequency is 0, I have to return false. But in this case, I did have an A, and the frequency is 2. Okay, so I will use one of those A's. What does that mean? That means I am going to take that associated A, and I'm going to decrease the frequency by 1. So I just used that A. Then I'm going to come here and say, do I have an A in my dictionary? Yes, I do. What is its frequency? It's 1. I just decreased the frequency, okay? And I am now going to use that A, so now 1 turns into 0. And so then I move to the next letter, but it is done. We're done. So if we are able to reach the end of this ransom note, we know that we are able to use each letter in ransom note from magazine. Now let's do an example where it wouldn't be the case. So I'm going to go through magazine and I'm going to add this A with a frequency of 1 and I'm going to add a B with a frequency of 1. So now I have a dictionary with A frequency 1, B frequency 1. Okay, so now I'm going to come here and I'm going to use one of my A's. I'm going to check, is it in my dictionary? Yes, it is. And so that 1 becomes a 0. Okay, then I'm going to come to this letter and say, is A in my dictionary? Yes, it is. Does it have a frequency greater than 0? Yes, no, it does not. Therefore, I have to return false. Okay, so let's start coding this up. So my dict equals, and we want a default dict, right? Like this. Okay, So now what I want to do is I want to iterate through all of the elements in magazine. So we have magazine here, so let's do that. So for element in magazine, okay? So element is going to be, maybe I should say letter, for letter in magazine. So this is going to iterate through each of the letters in magazine. We're going to get an A, and then we're going to get a B. So, all right, so what do we want to do? I think that this also needs to take in an int. Okay. And what is the default value? Can I set default value is equal to 1? I'm not sure how to do that. That we might need to figure that out. All right, so my dict of letter. So in here, what I want is, for a dictionary, we have a key and a value, right? And so key is going to be the letter, and value is going to be the frequency, okay? So now, what do we want to do here? We want to take this letter, right, and do plus equals 1. So we're assigning the value to be 1 more than it currently is. So in the default dictionary, if you don't have a key, which in this case is a letter, if this letter is not currently in the magazine, then it's going to default to a value. I think that value is 0, and in this case that's actually what we want, because if it's not in our dictionary, it's going to be 0, and then we're going to increase it by 1. So then the frequency now becomes 1. The value gets updated from 0 to 1. That's kind of what we want. Okay, so we're going to do that for each letter, and now we want to go through each of the ransom notes. So for letter in ransom note, okay, what do we want to do? We want to check if letter not in my dict return false, okay? Now in this case we know that letter is in the dictionary, so then we can do what? We can check its frequency. That's what we want to do. If, okay, so if my dict letter, okay, so this is going to evaluate to the value, which in this case is the frequency. So we're indexing our dictionary with letter, with the key, and we get back the value. So is greater than 0, then we want to use the letter, okay, and then elif so no, we don't even need, we just need else, right? Because in this case it means that the frequency is equal to 0, okay? So now what we have to do is return false, and the reason we return false here is because there's a letter in ransom note that it is in our dictionary, so we didn't immediately return false. If it wasn't in our dictionary, we would have just said, nope, not in our dictionary. We didn't see it in magazine. We're done. False. So it is in our dictionary. We did see it at least once in magazine, but we come here, is that frequency currently larger than 0. Okay. If it's not larger than 0, it must be equal to 0 or less than, but in this case it wouldn't be less than, because once we hit the 0 case, we're done. We just say, nope, we've already used up all of that letter. So then we just return false. So what about the case that the letter is in our dictionary and it is higher than what we are, it's higher enough so that we can use that letter. So what do we want to do? We want to decrease the value. We want to decrease the frequency. So we want to do my dict of letter, okay, minus equals 1. So we want to decrease it by 1. And then we're going to come down, once we hit this, we're going to go back up here and go to the next letter. So then we're going to keep doing this for all the letters, and if we ever break this for loop, that means that we got to the last letter and we determined that all letters could be used, or all letters could be taken from in the magazine. So then what we do is we say, okay, we know that we have hit the case where all of them are actually usable. So let's see if there's any like syntactical errors. Let's see if this works. Okay, there we go. Awesome. First try. Nice. Cool. Well, that's pretty cool. All right, well, the second part of this problem is, well, we got it, but is there a more efficient way of solving it? Is there another interesting way that I was unable to see? So what we are going to do now is I'm going to go and take my solution over to Copilot, and I'm going to say, here is my solution to, gonna get this one. Can you think of what? Of more efficient ways to solve this problem? Because just because we solved it doesn't mean we solved it in the optimal way. And I'm also curious, like, are there other like little tricks that I'm missing? Is there something that I need to be thinking about? So here we go. Your solution is already quite efficient. Oh, we forgot to actually look at the efficiency. Let's I mean, I kind of saw it, but I already saw it. But let's evaluate it before we go too far. So what are we doing here? We're iterating through each of the letters in magazine. That is O of R, sorry, O of M, right, for magazine. So O of M, and then this one, we are just iterating through each of the letters in Ransom note, okay? And all of those are O of 1 operations. We can index the dictionary in O of 1, we can index the dictionary in O of 1, and we can index the dictionary in O of 1. So this portion right here is O of R, where R is the length of the ransom note. So our overall time complexity is going to be O of M plus R. So we do this and then we do that. So there we go. So yeah, O of M plus N, that's what they're calling it. Just different letters. Where N is the length of ransom note and M is the length of the magazine. Awesome. However, we can look to a different approach to achieve the same goal, still with O of M plus N. So no, this is optimal in time complexity. So the answer is no. I'm just going to look at this to see like what's their solution. Like, just, it's interesting to see different creative solutions to problems. But keep in mind that that the solution that I did is optimal. So here we go. What do they do? Collections can construct, okay? So this is just the same. Counter. They're using this strange thing, counter, ransom note. For char, okay, so we iterate through ransom counter, which is here, dot items. And so this is going to give back like a tuple containing the character and the count. Okay. If magazine, and then so magazine of that character, if that is greater than count, or sorry, less than count, then you return false. So, I mean, it's a very similar kind of idea of what they're trying to do. They're just counting the number of times a letter appears in the ransom count or the ransom note, and then they're just doing it kind of in a batch, but it's still, you still need to iterate over each letter in the array for both ransom note and magazine because you need to add it to your data structure in the first place. So, all right, cool, awesome. Well, that is the video. We got it. Cool. So if you like this video, consider subscribing. That would be awesome. I am now at 599 subscribers. Let's see if I hit that 600. Yeah, let's see. 599, refresh. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, 600. I just hit the 600. Okay. So, anyways, thank you guys, everyone who subscribed. And yeah, I make Leetcode videos every single day, trying to go through as many as I can, and just do them live. I also do videos where I do projects to try to learn a lot of software engineering concepts and skills that I think I am currently lacking. So trying to build out those skill sets and fill in a lot of those holes that I feel that I have in software engineering. So that's kind of what my channel is about. If that's interesting to you, subscribe. I'd appreciate it, and that would be awesome. But anyways, I hope everyone is having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys tomorrow with more Leetcoding and more project videos. So awesome. See you then.